time. Let me just grab that link again. Nope, that didn't do it. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. So we are focusing. I guess I do want OBS up still. Hold on, I'm not as ready as I thought I was. There we go. Okay. So, right, this is where we got, but most of it was unheard because my mic was cut off. So here we go again. Basically, I got as far as listing a bunch of things that seasons makes me think of. So we have the 4 classic seasons in no particular order: spring, winter, fall, and summer. That's the order they go in now. We also think about storms as in lightning and thunder and rain and disaster. And when we come to the word unceasing, I think things like unchangeable, relentless, cruelty, cyclical nature, and bigger than one person. So together, I'm getting kind of a vague story vibe of kind of a man versus nature kind of stories. And one person up against something much larger than them that they can't possibly hope to stop, but they will have to find a way. But that's still very vague, so we can drill in deeper here. Does anybody have anything to add to this word bubble here? Does any particular word or image come to mind when you think of either the classic seasons or storms or the relentlessness of nature? Anything? Any ideas? Anybody? And of course, you're also welcome to do this as well. If you have different things that come up when you think of seasons and or unceasing, by all means, write them down for yourself. I'm just staring at the comments, seeing if anything trickles in. So I'm struggling a little bit with brainstorming right now. Sounds like my math short story a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got some of the same elements in there. But the math story is just going to be way too long for the anthology, unfortunately. People versus nature as story structure, metamorphosis. Yes, I like metamorphosis. Morphosis. Something's got to change. I have one mental image that keeps coming to mind. I'm just going to get rid of this bottom one now. And that is an image of a young woman standing on a cliff before a giant storm face, making the ultimate sacrifice of a knife through the heart to power some spell to block the storm from destroying something. So that's a potential ending point we can use for brainstorming a short story. But it's not the only thing we can do. So I do have here pulled up the Pinterest page that we created for Seasons Unceasing. Oh, and don't worry, I'm still writing the Maz story. It's just not going to be in Seasons Unceasing. It'll be its own thing probably. But I will get out there. So anyway, Pinterest. I created a board with some images, and so we'll just go through and see if anything sparks any ideas. If there's a picture you love, jump into chat, point it out, and we can take a deeper look at it. You can kind of tell what order I added these in. This was me searching fantasy art winter, so it pulled up a bunch of different things here. Castles, people in the cold, some fairy type people. I think this is the one Allie's using as her inspiration for her short story. This is an image that I quite liked, but I'm not 100% sure what to do with it. But it could be, if we wanted to go in a totally different direction, some kind of wild hunt story, go into the fairy lore, because God knows I don't write enough fairy stories. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Does this image bring any ideas or concepts up that you think would make a good short story? I feel like Dora the Explorer. I'm like, ready, kids? Go point at the map. Waiting for responses. I'm not sure what the delay is either. Also, I'm on like 2 cups of coffee, so if I'm talking really fast, that would be why. I'm just going to pop this bad boy in another tab there and keep kind of going down. A lot of snowy castles and cities was what I found for winter. This was another one that I really liked. Dragon stuck in the ice. PB has all the energy today. I've been up since 6. This is bizarre. I've been up for like 5.5 hours already. But I am ready and raring to go to get some stories written, so that's why I'm so hyped. This was another image that really jumped out at me too when I was putting together this album of pictures. I mean, it's grainy as all heck, but some sort of ghostly figure walking through a wet forest. It's atmospheric in the very least. Frozen halls, winter's come too hard. This one was just cute. Why won't you let me open it? It did save you. Open. It's not what I clicked. There we go. So this is another image that I quite liked. That's also not what I clicked. Thank you. Anyway, keeping going down. I am reading the comments still. I'm not jazzed about writing just about winter. I mean, we just finished winter, so I kind of want to think more about spring and warmer seasons, but I'll take what inspiration comes my way. This one was cute. Fairies in a little garden. Lots of towns. tell where I started searching for fall images. I don't know. Still right now, Wild Hunt is kind of catching my attention the most. We'll see what happens by the time we get to the bottom of the Pinterest page. This was a cool image too. Some sort of tree, dog, beast in a nice sunny forest. Mermaid. There's never enough mermaid stories. This one goes in with a couple of the other images that we've looked at so far. Kind of the idea of spirits crossing over, maybe. Unicorn in a deep wood. Temples. I do like this image quite a lot as well. Standing stones. And no, the audio hasn't cut out. I'm just being really quiet right now. Do like dragons. Okay. So I pulled out a handful of images that I find inspirational. Yeah, the tree dog is nice. See, the images of like these ghostly people among trees is what's really jumping out at me. And this image too, it could fit in with that. Kind of like if we went with Wild Hunt, it could be something like main character is forced to go into the forest on a night they shouldn't because the townsfolk know that the Wild Hunt is about for reasons, and the Wild Hunt finds her and chases her, and she has to be clever and tricksy to escape from them somehow. Yeah, I don't know. My brain is just not wanting to really give me a unique seasons unceasing idea so far. I guess we could look at that too. Told me there was a ping somewhere, but I'm not seeing that. Anyway, so distracted. Going back to this page. So this is our page on the table here. I'm scooting over. Okay. Wild Hunt. When I think of the Wild Hunt, I think of Fae on horses. That barely looks English. Baying hounds. Trumpets. Wow, music. Does anybody... I can't remember my Wild Hunt lore off the top of my head. Does anybody remember if it comes at a specific time of year, or is it It's something that can be unleashed, right? Or it's more like a trooping fae court that runs wild through the wilderness, I guess. I'm not 100% sure. I do like Tang's idea in the comments too of having to herd souls to the other realm. So our main character is somebody who stumbles across the wild hunt and is mistaken for a dead soul and is chased towards the afterlife but must escape somehow, possibly. Valkyries. I don't know. There's so many ideas and so many different directions we can take this. It's hard to really narrow it down. But that's what brainstorming is for. We work out ideas, we try them out. Oathbreakers. Well, if we wanted to go an Oathbreakers route, we could have our main character who broke an oath for the right reason and must maybe they challenge the wild hunt to some sort of contest. Fae love contests and games, and they must win in order to prove their quote unquote innocence because they did break an oath, but they did it for the right reasons. It's definitely a direction we could go. What about a spirit who manages to keep evading the hunt and is off place to join it? That's a good one too. Kind of like the spirit's last stand, maybe. I'm so torn. I'm liking the wild hunt idea though. So there's different directions we can go. What were we saying? Oathbreaker, they are hunted down. They have a last stand. They challenge the hunt to a contest. They and are offered a place in the hunt. Maybe the leader of the hunt is tired or corrupt and a new leader needs to step up. Possibly. Well, I could see this person joining as more of a junior member kind of thing. Getting some ribbing from the others for being a oathbreaker, but still an honorable person. Write that down too. Oathbreaker, but honor. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. I think we still need some additional motivations and whatnot. So that's where we have the story engine deck. And she looks like this. So the story engine deck is a deck of prompt cards. And what we do is we pull cards at random until we find one we like. Shapeshifter, a pet, a beast, a hedonist. Don't like any of those. So this is me trying to find a main character right now. A rogue. A rogue could work. So the cards here are main characters. Then we also have the what do they call it? The engine cards. So these are what this person wants to do. Temporarily given wild hump powers. I think that's an entirely different kind of story than what I'm aiming to write this time. Okay. So I guess for our rogue, their motivation. Rogue. Actually, we can draw some modifiers for them. Burdened, intelligent, toxic, half-elven, no. So these aspect cards change the meaning of the rogue. So an undying rogue kind of fits. Spooky, inherited, remote. I'll leave undying there for a minute. Blessed, clean, cursed. So basically, they're a cursed rogue. Rogue, there's a curse to run the wild and forever. Their goal is that they want to earn eternal rest. Big idea? What kind of big idea do you have? And I love this set of deck. It was expensive, but so worth it. So these are anchor cards. They give some more detail about what the person aims for rather. But I guess we kind of covered that with their goal is to rest. So here's where I guess we can find some more depth, and that is in the conflict cards. So what conflict does our rogue have? They ought to do something they can never tell anyone about. Means confessing to an old sin. That one's a possibility. Make them a fugitive. Basically, what was the other one? It would mean joining the enemy. That's literally what they're doing. Oh, running. Rereading my old stuff. By joining the enemy. Okay, so Tang says, what if a member of the hunt fell in love with one of the hunted and is helping them evade the hunt and their eternal judgment? MC's challenge is to join the hunt to track down the couple. I like parts of it. The idea that somebody from the inside is helping them. But it's not grabbing me. I'm not really necessarily feeling any kind of romantic subplot here necessarily. Because I worry about that being too many people. If we have the main character, the leader of the hunt as a main antagonist, and the two that are being hunted down. Could be that the love interest was a member of the hunt and left to flee with this lover. And so the hunt is mad at both the loss of their number and for the person being an oathbreaker. Yeah, it could be a sibling as well. That would bring us down to 3 main characters at least. The fewer main characters, the shorter the story. And as far as location goes, it's probably not that bad. Because it should be just kind of running through the forest kind of thing. So one location, the forest. I'm just thinking of Mary Robinette Kowal has this, which is a formula based on the mice quotient. So, move this over for a second. Oh, this is going to be messy. Oh, well. So, length of story equals the number of characters, 3, plus the number of locations, 1, plus, or rather, times 750 times the number of mice quotients, which would be the mice elements of a story. Milieu, which is like kind of the location, the set of the world. Inquiry, which is like a mystery story. Character, which is the character coming to terms with something. And environment, in which something massive changes. So for this story, I would probably be at least 2 elements. 2 elements divided by 1.5. So we have 4 times 750, which I need a calculator for. Sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I just kind of want to check the length to make sure we're not going too crazy here. Oh, that's calendar, not calculator. Hold on. Calculator. 4 times 750 4 times 750 is equals 3,000 times 2 for the number of mice quotient elements we have, which equals 6,000. And 6,000 divided by 1.5 equals 4,000. So 3 characters with 1 location equals about 4,000 words worth of story. So I think we are well within range here if we kind of keep this pretty narrow of just a chase, a confrontation, and an ending. Oh yeah, definitely. There is the link posted. Go back to OBS. So that was my wonderful map there on the back side of the paper. So going back to our kind of form of an outline here. Could the Yeah, the Oathbreaker could be one of their own who betrayed them, but I don't want to put too many roles on one character. To also have been a former member of the Hunt and an Oathbreaker. I mean, it's doable. I don't know. You get to see basically an insight into my head as I am trying to do all of this. It's messy in here. You don't want to stay here any longer than you have to. But we have the very basis, at least here, of a story outline. So we can go, I guess, to the next step. I'm just reading Tang's comment. My thought was treacherous huntsperson and fleeing lover have disrupted the natural cycles by evading the hunt. MC has been trying to join the hunt for centuries, but it was a commoner or something. I see where you're going with that. I do like the idea of disrupting the seasons. Oh, I'm glad you're having fun brainstorming alongside me. Because the last time I did this for the Worldsmith channel was actually less messy than this. I had more of an idea of the story going in, but this is like ground zero, starting from scratch, no ideas anywhere to be found, and forcing the brain into thinking of something. So anyway, let's keep all these thoughts in our head and go to the next step. Our lovely piece of paper here. And this is Dan Wells' 7-point story structure. Let me post again here. Just a second. I will grab you the link that I use. Okay. So I just put a link into the chat that is for a blank 7-point story structure spreadsheet. You're welcome to make a copy and use it for yourself if you want. And I'll grab a link to his videos as well because I think they're fantastic. Loading. Okay, copy, restream, paste. So this is a series of YouTube videos. Be warned that the audio quality is not fantastic for the first few, but it does get better over time. I think it takes about 2 hours to watch the videos, but it's a great plotting tool, and I use it a lot when I'm really stuck and really trying to make sure I have like a beginning, middle, and end, and that there's escalation, and etc., etc. So that being said, let us get into this. I have too many windows open. I want to go here. So this is the spreadsheet that I just linked. You can see, hey, look, there's an anonymous penguin. How about that for good timing? This just is a brief description of what each step is. So the first one is the hook. This is your character's starting point, the before picture, and it is the opposite of the resolution. Turning point 1 is the place where you introduce conflict and bridge the gap between the hook and the midpoint. The character's world changes, they meet new people, they learn new secrets, etc. Pinch point 1 is where you apply pressure. This is often used to introduce the antagonist. Midpoint, this is the point of no return where the character makes the conscious decision to change or move forward on their own. And this is where they change from reactive to proactive. And also moves from the hook to the resolution. And then you have pinch point number 2, where this is where the things get even worse. The darkest night of the soul, if you will. Your story takes the ultimate dive. Your character is at his or her darkest, or she'll just change that now. Be more inclusive wherever we can. They have. Anyway, character is at their darkest moment and they have lost everything, which then leads into the midpoint, which is where you move, the turning point number 2, which is where you move from the midpoint to the end, which is your resolution. Your character gets the final piece of the puzzle or realizes they have all the information they need to set out what they attempted to do in the midpoint. And that in turn leads to the climax of the story where everything has been aiming up to, and this is where your character either achieves or fails to achieve what they set out to do. So, going back to our page, the hook being the starting point, the before picture. This is the opposite of the resolution. So if our MC is the fugitive, then they start out on the run. Picturing this being a very in medias res introduction. Burying hands, cold night, ex hostia. So our main character is not in a fantastic spot. They're tired, they're on the run, and they know that they've got to just keep staying ahead of the wild hunt behind them because they know that they're how the plane turns your brain into drool. Yeah, sorry. It's not for everybody, definitely, but I find it really interesting to see everybody else's process. Anyway, so the main character is on the run, and that gets us to bridge between the hook and the midpoint, which is turning point number 1. The character's world changes, they meet new people, new secrets, etc. So this is all still pretty flexible as we narrow in on what the story is going to be about, but I'm going to say that the MC is caught, but it's their love interest in the hunt. So it looks like a setback, but it's not really. We learn that their love interest is a member of the Wild Hunt and is tasked with finding them and turning them in, but they can't bear to do it to themselves, so they let the main character go. Yeah, Tang, you should definitely do a video. Show us your process. It's valuable seeing everybody else's what they do. So pinch point number 1. This is where we apply pressure and we are introducing the antagonist. So leader almost catches them. No, I think we're going to go with does catch them. Love interest risks self to distract leader. So the midpoint is where the character makes the decision to act proactively. So in this case, I am picturing that the main character decides that they are done running. They want to get themselves and their love interest out of this situation. So we'll say decide to end the situation. And they make the decision, they stop running and challenge the leader to a contest. We'll have to do some brainstorming on what that contest is going to be, but for now, we'll just put it as simply a contest. Pinch point number 2 is where we apply even more pressure, and the character is at their darkest moment. So they start to fail at the contest. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. And turning point 2 is where the character realizes they have all the information to achieve what they set out to do in the midpoint. So I'm kind of picturing that the love interest slips information to the MC. MC uses it cleverly to win. Leader loses instead of instructs the main character to join Hunt, granting them eternal life and love together. So they're not going to be on the run anymore. They instead, yes, you still count as a view tang. Not for everybody, this process, but it works for me. We're almost done anyway. So this is where I end up with my outline. Can't quite all fit it on the same screen here, but basically starts out with the main character on the run. It's cold, it's nighttime, they are exhausted, there's bang hounds chasing them, there's hoof beats in the night, and the main character runs but is caught up by the hunt. He thinks the hunt has caught up with him, but it's just their love interest who teases them. They have a brief romantic moment, and because they don't get to see each other very often at all because she's on the wrong side of the hunt. Anyway, she hears the leader approaching and says to the main character to run and flee, and the main character does, but after just a few minutes of running, realizes they don't want to do this anymore. They've been doing it for possibly hundreds of years, and they're over it. They want to be with their love. So they decide that they are going to find a way to end the situation, and they are doing so by stopping running and challenging the leader to a contest, TBD, to win. And they wager that if he wins, he and his love interest get to be together, but if he loses, the leader of the hunt can take his soul. So they start this, whatever the contest is, and the main character is immediately out of his depth. He starts to fail, but the love interest, wanting desperately to help her true love, is able to slip some kind of information to the main character that the main character then uses in a clever way to win, which leads to the leader losing, but he is still duty bound to not let souls free from the wild hunt. So he gives them an ultimatum. Either they both join the hunt, giving them access to eternal life and eternal love, or they both go into death together. That way they're still together, but all various oaths are fulfilled. And they choose to join the hunt, and everybody rides off into the night whooping and hollering, I guess. So there we go. That is one short story, and I'm hoping that it will stay pretty short, and I guess we will see once I actually start writing, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. It's enough of a narrow moment. There's only a few scenes, really. There's the first chase, the confrontation, the contest, and the ending, the denouement, if you will. I'm glad it was helpful for you. I enjoy brainstorming quite a lot, so something like this is fun for me to do, and I definitely hope that other people find it useful as well. So yeah, I guess to start from the beginning and give a summary for anybody who came in late, we started with a word cloud, and the kind of cruelty, relentlessness, bigger than one person changeableness is what led to the wild hunt idea, as well as looking through the Pinterest page, which gave us many ideas as well. Particularly, this image is not typical for one for. Does it still say brains unceasing? Oh, I thought I fixed that. Oh my goodness. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. That's why. Almost done, and now I just finally correct the things. Anyway, we started with the word cloud. We then looked at the Pinterest page. Pinterest page then led us to a second word bubble about the wild hunt, which was really more just some sensory details. And then brainstorming with the chat, we came up with some more ideas together, which led to this. Oh, it would help if I was on the right screen. This very simple outline here of a story in rough chronological order. We then took out our story cards and came up with a short summary here of a rogue bears a curse to outrun the wild hunt forever. Their goal is to rest. They can only survive by joining the enemy and confessing their old sins. Which then, in turn, led us to this full outline of Danwell's 7-point story structure, which I won't go through all the way again, but basically, they win. So there we have it. If you have any questions about this process, please let me know. If you want help with your own brainstorming, I have lots of paper. We can always get out some more paper and do some more brainstorming if that's what you guys want. But let me know. I shall now stare at the comments and see if anybody says anything. Anybody, anything at all? Thanks for sharing your process. No problem. I was happy to. And I do have ideas now that I can write and get it finished in time. Though I am going to write my Maz story first because that one is in progress. And I know I'm awful for starting a story, and if I stop halfway, I will never finish that story again. It is dead. Okay, so back. Makes that transition. When they realize they have the final piece of information, or they find the power within themselves, the inner resolve to overcome the darkness of the previous beat. I know there's a lag, but have you ever seen a patient penguin? I don't think so. JS, you should really find some time if you can to do some brainstorming with us. We'd love to have you in the next anthology. Just seeing if a pet was behind me. Turning point 2 is like the aha moment, and the resolution is that aha moment unfolding. Yes, basically. So that is how it works. The turning point 2 turns into the resolution when the character realizes they have the tools they need to accomplish their goal, and then the resolution is them accomplishing that goal. Not a problem. If there are no further questions, I can wrap up this stream and we can go back to Discord and do any further brainstorming there. And if anybody is watching from outside of Discord, I will pop in a link here real quick. We love meeting new people. Actually, I should do one that doesn't expire. Edit link. Never. Copy. Do I use this beat sheet for most of my shorts? No, just the ones I'm struggling with, really. Because, for example, the Maz short story that I started yesterday, I just kind of had it in my head already. Basically, I already knew how it ended, more or less, and was able to work backwards. So I just did an outline in point form. I have that amongst my millions of tabs. So this is my Maz short story. And so what I do for a story where I already kind of know a fair amount a bit about it is I do a basic premise. So for this one, it's in a post-apocalyptic world, the town's guardian god goes missing and must be replaced before magic storms descend on the town and destroy it. There are seasonal storms that sweep the land, and without the protection of a god to put up a barrier, the town will be wiped out. The main character is Mazrael Serpent. He is an investigator for the God of Truth. He is clever, sarcastic, and a flirt of all genders, a disaster bisexual, if you will. And I did have more up here before. I had a whole bunch of stuff copy-pasted from the brainstorming that we did in the brainstorming channel. But I just kept just a... correction, my Maz novella. That is correct. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but I'm thinking probably around 10K by the end. Anyway, so I have some brainstorming here, and then I just went into, okay, this happens, then this happens, then this happens. So you can kind of see here, I've deviated from this as I've been writing it, but I just go point A to point B and just describe what happens. And this one took about 16 points, and then I just started writing it. So that's what my process looks like for maybe half my short stories. I do this whole thing here with the 7-point story structure when I'm needing to explore the plot more. And especially if I don't know the end, I want to kind of give myself a good transition between the different plot beats to make sure that I've got a story that has sufficient tension and pacing, and that the beats are satisfactory so that people actually like the story. So long story short, no, I don't use it for every story. As long as I have a process that works. It has taken a fair bit of trial and error to get to a spot of knowing my process. And really, that's all it is trial and error. Finding out what works, to learn if you're a pantser or a plotter or somewhere in between. Once you know that about yourself, writing gets 3% easier. I don't want to go too wild and say 5, 3% easier. So yeah, if there's no more questions, I will wrap up within the next minute or two here, and we can go hang out in Discord together. What helps with getting my word count up per day? That is back to kind of trial and error again. For me, I started out doing sprints, and I sometimes find sprints really useful, but the more I write, the more I find just kind of setting aside time and just letting it happen is working for me. So, I guess, for example, yesterday I wrote about 4,000 words. Pardon me just a moment. 4,000 words, and I didn't do any sprints during that time except for the 2 super long ones we did as we were doing our sprint challenge. Um, and those didn't really feel like sprints because they were half hour, so I wasn't like nose to the grindstone 100% of the time. But what I would do is I'd write 400 to 600 words, which would take me 15, 20 minutes, and then I'd scroll through Facebook or go catch up and chat in Discord and go do something else for 15, 20 minutes. I think it's actually called the Pomodoro technique if you're recording yourself, like 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, or 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off, whatever intervals you want to do. But just keeping kind of in the rhythm of, okay, I spent my 5 minutes looking at social media. I'm going to go write another couple paragraphs, and just kind of not putting the pressure on yourself to be staring at a clock and staring at your word count constantly has been working for me, at least. So try it out, I guess. If sprints work better for you, then we can definitely run sprints in Discord. If doing it this kind of lazy, gentle way works for you, then by all means. And yeah, just really finding your preferred way to run things, really, either sprints or as it comes. All right, I think I'm going to end the stream here. If there's anything else, tag me in Discord or leave a comment here after this live stream is over, and let's chat. Let's sprint. Let's get some words out. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more random brainstorming videos, then by all means subscribe to our channel. I do these at least twice a year. I'll probably do this again for the Valentine's Day anthology, especially because I suspect my process will be different because it's romance. And I don't have it handy, but I do use Romancing the Beat, which I will go into in that hypothetical video. But I like to match up the romance beats compared to like these 7-point structure beats, because they are different. They do still structure the story, but they do so by following beats that a romance reader would expect to see. But that is a problem for a future video, so I'm going to stop talking now and end the stream. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. And have a good day. Thank you very much.